The radical invents the views, but when he has worn them out, the conservative adopts them. And there's a lot of talk right now about what's going to happen to comedy. And is comedy going to survive in this new moment? I've got news for you. Comedy survives every moment. And having Bassem here is a really great example of the true threat to comedy. It's not the woke police that are gonna be an existential threat to comedy. It's not the Fresh Prince, it's the Crown Prince. It's not the fragility of audiences, it's the fragility of leaders.
It's almost as if Jon Stewart called his shot at the Kennedy Center years back.
But the threat to comedy doesn't change the world, but it's a bellwether. We're the banana peel in the coal mine. When a society is under threat, comedians are the ones who get sent away first. It's just a reminder to people that democracy is under threat. Authoritarians are the threat to comedy, to art, to music, to thought, to poetry, to progress, to all those things. It's never been, all that is a red herring. It ain't the pronoun police, it's the secret police. It always has been, and it always will be.
There are so many gems, including how ICE is running rampant with his secret police line. More from the comedian.
What we have is fragile and precious. And the way to guard against it isn't to change how audiences think. It's to change how leaders lead.
Amen to that, brother. Now, there's a lot here. First off, Stewart's words being told to someone like, say, Dave Chappelle, who sat in the audience for this speech, as Stewart railed about authoritarian leaders and their threat to society at large. It would only take just a few years for Dave Chappelle to take the money and head to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to join Aziz Ansari, Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino, Andrew Schultz, Kevin Hart, Gabriel Iglesias, Sebastian Maniscalco, Chris Tucker, Whitney Cummings, Wayne Brady, Bill Burr, Jimmy Carr, Hannibal Buress, Mark Norman, and others to manufacture consent for an authoritarian regime. The irony as well of Jimmy Kimmel being in the crowd should not be lost on us, especially given Stewart's speech. As you know,
FCC Chairman Brendan Carr spoke to conservative podcaster Benny Johnson about whether broadcast licenses from ABC affiliates should be at stake over the comments.
I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
What followed was pressure from the owners of local affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair. ABC yanked Kimmel's show off the air. In a social media post from the UK, Trump congratulated ABC for canceling Kimmel's show and laid out his next target, saying that leaves Jimmy and Seth at NBC before adding, quote, "Do it, NBC." In this situation, I think the issue was also him saying that the shooter was one of them. People took issue certainly with that description. Does he have legal recourse?
Well, so Jimmy Kimmel, I do not believe has legal recourse. ABC, however, could have had legal recourse.
What we must also remember is this quote from Jon Stewart himself. We're the banana peel in the coal mine, he would say. When society is under threat, comedians are the ones who get sent away first. It's just a reminder to people that democracy is under threat. Authoritarians are the threat to comedy, to art, to music, to thought, to poetry. And recall this.
It's just straight up about representation in marginalized communities, vulnerable people. And it's like we don't have to break it all down, but and I know it was never just about the words, but ultimately these guys were marks for the right-wing propaganda machine and absorbed by their agenda and spearheaded, what was in their eyes, I talk about in the special, this ability to say words they wanted to say, but they used anti-woke to dismantle all progressive policy for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's partially on them, and I can't separate it. Whether they were willing collaborators or just grifting for themselves. I mean, it's like And now you have comics. The other shift too with the right wing political comics is that there's a blurring of the line of comic and commentator or influencer. And the right wing has opened up the sort of expanded the minds of fairly shallow people into believing that they can debate, that they have a point of view, and that it's based in this very slippery slope of evolving bullshit that gets them worked up.
Comedian Mark Maron taking it to his fellow comics who facilitated this ushering in of fascism in the country. He'd write on his website, "The anti-woke flank of the new fascism is being driven almost exclusively by comics my peers. Whether or not they are self-serving or true believers in the new fascism is unimportant. They are of the movement. Whether they see themselves as acolytes or just comics does not matter. Whether they are driven by the idea that what they are fighting for is a free speech issue or whether they are truly morally bankrupt racists doesn't matter. They are part of the public face of a fascist political movement that seeks to destroy the democratic idea."
You know, they thought that their fight was really about free speech, which wasn't on a constitutional basis. So the entire premise of we're being denied our free speech was based in the active kind of movement of democracy to move forward.
Yeah. When you say anti-woke comics, either you can say specific names or what do you think of or who do you think of or what are you imagining?
There's the wormy way to handle it, like Bill Maher, you know, where you're like, hey, you know, I'm as liberal as the next guy, you know, but, you know, the liberals have gone too far with this thing. You know, people are getting, you know, canceled or whatever. But those were corporate decisions based on, you know, I think a misread of the public sentiment, you know, in honoring, which it was good that they did, you know, the kind of the kind of fragility of minority communities, you know, based in ethnicity or gender, sexual gender stuff. And, you know, Rogan and Hinchcliffe and, you know, just a lot of these people just locked into this anti-woke thing. But now, you know, the government, which is for all practical, you know, good intents and purposes, is an authoritarian government, and we have a fairly dominant fascistic culture. Yeah. So they're using the same language, which is anti-woke, to dismantle all progressive institutions. And, you know, whether you like it or not, or whether that's not what you signed up for, you know, you tied yourself to that horse. But this is the reality, is that, you know, democracy was squashed because of, you know, the policy now of using anti-woke to dismantle the liberal democratic state is something you didn't shut up about.
Yeah.
He'd continue. When comedians with podcasts have shameless, self-proclaimed white supremacists and fascists on their show to joke around like they are just entertainers or even just politicians, all it does is humanize and normalize fascism. When someone uses their platform for that reason, they are facilitating anti-American sentiment and promoting violent autocracy. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.